What's up everyone? That is Mauna Kea, the largest volcano in Hawaii behind me, and today we're talking about the best business model for beginners. Zero risk and a way for you to finally escape the 9-to-5 and get some more freedom in your life, making a full-time living just working part-time. Now if that sounds good to you, let's hop right into the video. It is very possible nowadays to make a full-time living working just part-time and without even needing to be in a certain place at a certain time or having a job at all for that matter. And today I'm going to show you exactly how I did just this at 21 years old and exactly how you can too. The overall path is this. Step 1, build a skill. Step 2, freelance that skill. Step 3, build an agency out of that skill. And step 4, do whatever the hell you want. For me, this is taking your passion, building a passion project around it, and working on making that passion your career long term. But you have no pressure to do that, and you can do it out of love and passion instead of necessity because you have taken care of the money problem with the previous 3 steps. Now you could also get a job after you develop a skill, and you could work on negotiating part-time or remote agreement with that company, but I'm not going to cover that in this video. We're going to stick with the path that I laid out beforehand. Our skill must meet 3 criteria. Now, the first one is it has to be digital. It means you have to be able to do it on a laptop or a computer somewhere. This is crucial just for establishing our remote work capabilities. We don't want to have to go to a certain location every single day or be bound by location. At least I don't. Maybe you do, but I don't. Number 2 is it has to be freelanceable. We have to be able to find clients and do this work, perform this skill on a freelancing basis. And number 3, 2 important factors. It has to be in demand and it has to be highly valued. You have to be able to get paid a lot of money for doing this skill. Now that means that it might be hard. In fact, the harder the skill, the better, because that means the more money you're going to make from it. People don't pay you a lot of money to do things that they're easy. People pay you a lot of money to do things that are hard. So those are our 3 criteria. Now, ideally, this skill is also a business-to-business skill. The reason for this, instead of being a business-to-consumer skill, is because, frankly, businesses have more money. They have budgets that they're willing to assign to paying people for certain things if they think it can give them a return on that investment. Individuals are much harder to convince to pay a lot of money for something because they don't think in a business mindset. Businesses, as long as they can see a clear ROI, are willing to pay you plenty of money if you're returning that ROI. So what are some examples of skills that would meet these criteria? Well, I'm going to split it up into 2 categories. One of them is technical and the other is non-technical. Starting off with our technical skills, you have things like, you guessed it, web development. Everyone hears about web development. That's what I started doing. It's a very good basic skill to have. It's going to be in demand for a while. It's very easy to learn online. Good starter skill. Also teaches you programming, which can build into our other skills, such as data science, which uses more Python and different languages, but also freelanceable. You got cybersecurity, you got business analytics, you got cloud computing with Microsoft's Azure and AWS and all those kinds of things. Those are some broad range of technical skills. You can just look up lists of most in-demand technical skills and they will have a huge list of different skills that you can learn. You can try things out and just see which ones you like. Now, if technical skills don't quite appeal to you, it's okay. There are some non-technical skills you can choose from. These include things like video and audio editing. With social media on the rise and the internet, everyone's making content. I know I'm making these videos. You need to learn, how do you edit videos? How do you edit photos? How do you make things look nice? It's a valuable skill set, actually. I am surprised at how hard it is. Video, audio editing, also podcasts, that's going to be a huge thing, continue to be big. You got social media marketing, digital marketing, that's where I primarily focus my time. You got things like writing and copywriting. If you're a good writer, good copywriter, copywriting is just writing sales copy, so persuasive copy for businesses. And yeah, that's pretty much it. There are a few more. You can do the same thing. You can look at lists online for different skills that you can freelance, but those are some examples of good non-technical skills. Now that you've chosen which skill you would like to investigate some more, you got a couple of options of where you learn. And there are 2 main ones. You got Skillshare and you got Udemy. Now I've used both. Skillshare is much more of the creative side for video editing, writing, photography, all that kind of stuff. Udemy has pretty much everything. The one that I've used the most on Udemy have been coding courses. So I can vouch for a guy named Andre Nagwe, and he has a whole coding academy where he teaches a ton of different languages. All of his courses are super good. I've taken a lot of them and a couple other web development courses as well. Highly vouch for all of those. And yeah, Udemy just has a ton of content and a ton of resources for really whatever skill you pick. Guaranteed they have something on it. Now, after you've developed your skill a little bit and you feel like you are capable enough to take on a client, you've got two options. You could either do online or you could do in person. Now, eventually we want to be all online. That's the goal. But in the beginning, I would actually recommend starting out in person. Why is that? Well, online you're gonna be in a lot of competition. You have to go to places like Upwork or Fiverr, and you're gonna have to compete with these guys from India and the Philippines and all of the world who are charging way lower because their cost of living is way lower. And you're just having so much competition. You're not gonna stand out. You're gonna be another newbie on the block. Whereas if you go locally, you can call local businesses, you can show up, you can just pitch them, and you will stand out. You'll only be competing with people in your neighborhood who have also tried to pitch that business, which probably aren't too many. And you just have a much higher chance of actually building that relationship and getting that client. And after you get that client, you work your ass off doing everything they need and you get a referral. You get a testimonial and you ask for a referral. And you do work for the referral client and you get another referral. You get another referral, you do the process until you've done it for a handful of clients. And now you have this handful of clients that you've done work for. You're building up your social reputation, your business reputation in your area, and you're on your way to the next step. Now, this next step is actually optional. If you are freelancing and you've got some clients and you're making enough money where you still have enough time to pursue your other interests, in my case, if you have enough time to write or pursue your passion, whatever that might be, play the drums, then really you could say that's good. You know, I am good with just freelancing and doing everything myself, and I'm gonna go spend the rest of my time building up my passion and turning that into a career. Now, if you aren't in that situation, if you either don't have enough time to work on other things or you want or need more money, then I would say that the next step is where you're gonna need to go, because it's going to unlock that time freedom, that location freedom, and that financial freedom that really is the ultimate goal here, so that you have everything you need to put a ton of energy and time into your passion. And that is going to be turning your freelance business into an agency. Now, this transition from a freelancer to an agency really just means that you've identified one, maybe two services that provide the highest return on your time and are most in demand, and you hire one or two people, starting with one, of course, to start delivering that service instead of you doing everything yourself. Now, the reason this frees up your time is because you go from actually performing the service manually to being more of a salesman and a manager. Salesman because it's your job to now just get more clients, to start feeding clients into the business and giving the work to your employees or your contractors. And a manager because you're just managing your contractors. You have maybe one or two remote workers where they're doing all the work and you just make sure that it's all going smoothly. You have meetings with the clients and run the ship. This is a big transition from working in the business and delivering everything yourself, doing everything yourself, being a one-man show, to working on the business, where you're actually above it, looking at where the business should go, getting more clients, and managing the whole thing as a whole. Another benefit to doing this instead of just staying a freelancer is the fact that it puts you on an equal level as the business that you're serving. See, if you're a freelancer and you're just getting clients, the businesses often look at you as just an individual, just almost a contractor or an employee. They see themselves as the big guy. Whereas if you're another agency, you're another business, and you can talk face to face, they'll respect you a lot more and they'll pay you better. So that's a side benefit to starting an actual agency instead of just being a freelancer. Now you might be wondering, Ryan, how am I supposed to actually make money if I am just giving all the work to someone else? I'm charging this company this much and I have to pay all my workers to actually perform the work. How am I making money in between? Well, this is where you take advantage of a thing called geo arbitrage, which is really just a difference in the value of currencies in different locations around the world. I'm sure you've heard about how Americans can go to Thailand and live like a king because the dollar is so much more valuable than the Thai baht, I believe it is. Same thing with Philippines, India, all these places. The truth is that our dollar can go a long way in other countries. So what you do is you charge in your local currency, I'm imagining dollars, and you take that money and then you go pay a very reasonable salary to another employee in a different part of the world. $400 in a lot of places in the world is a very, very good salary. But here, it's just half of maybe what you would charge for a retainer for a client. Now, another question you might have is, well, why would the freelancer work for you instead of just doing what you're doing? They could make more money. And also, why would the company hire you instead of hiring this freelancer that they could pay less? Well, A, the freelancer is gonna work for you because they don't wanna deal getting more clients. That's your job now that you have an agency, is to get more clients and manage this business. They just wanna do the service. They don't wanna deal with actually running a business. And the reason that the company would hire you instead of the freelancer is you have brand equity. You have a brand that stands, I hope, for quality and reassurance that when they pay you to get the job done, it's gonna get done quick and with quality. And that's why I recommend performing the service before you start up the agency, because then you can keep an eye on the quality that your workers are actually doing and ensure that you're not just screwing your clients, because you want to ensure that your standards are kept to wherever you establish them when you were performing the service yourself. Ideally, your employees are even better than you, but the worst case scenario is they're worse, and you need to be able to spot that and fire them, honestly, and get better employees so your standards stay to a certain level. Now, if you follow these steps, before you know it, you will have your own little streamlined, lean agency with maybe a couple of contractors in different parts of the world. You got your remote team, you have a handful of clients in your local area or wherever it might be, and you're sitting on a cushy little retainer every single month coming from your business. All you're doing is you're managing your employees, you're having meetings with your clients every now and then, and you're of course spending maybe an hour a day on sales outreach to get new clients coming in. So as the old ones funnel out eventually, you always have new ones coming in. Sounds pretty good to me. Now, my final pieces of advice for this whole career path and life path that is so much different from the average, but I believe just so much better, is to A, pick a skill that you can create some sort of monthly retainer around. You don't want to just have to constantly be finding new clients every single month, because that's going to take up a ton of time and it's going to get away from our goal of building up a business that allows for us to have a lot of free time. So find a kind of business that you can start charging clients a retainer for. So every single month you have money coming in. Examples of this for me would be a Facebook ads managing. Every single month you just have a retainer, so you get one client and you have client for at least 6 months. So you don't have to worry about getting a new client for a long time. The second point I made a little bit earlier, it would be don't be afraid to pick a hard skill. The harder the skill, the better you get paid, and that is a really good thing. The harder the skill, the more barrier to entry there is, so the less competition you're gonna have, and it's just overall gonna be a lot easier to actually build this into a profitable business. And the third piece of advice I would have is don't wait too long to actually get your first client after learning a skill. I would only spend maybe 1 to 2 weeks of full-time effort learning the skill itself, taking a few courses on Udemy or something, before I would start looking for clients. I barely had any experience when I got my first website client. I had taken maybe a half of a course on website development before I went and sold my first website, and I really just figured out how to do it on the way. And it's a pretty decent looking website. I'm not ashamed of it. You're gonna learn everything you need to know as you're doing it, and as long as you're not charging outrageous prices in the beginning, as long as they know that you're a beginner, but you're gonna do quality work, then it's really not a problem. So don't wait too long to get started. Just start getting clients as soon as possible. Now, as always, I've got some resource recommendations. The first one is gonna be a classic. It's the 4-Hour Work Week. If you've been in the online business world or digital nomad world at all, you'll definitely have heard of it for good reason. It just reprograms your mind to think in a totally different way that has changed my life and millions of other people's. So 4-Hour Work Week, definitely read that. The second one is a little more specific. It's this guy named Alex Becker. His YouTube channel has a lot of really good content on starting your businesses, and specifically starting this kind of business that isn't just super cash flow intensive, or is cash flow positive at the beginning, rather than being super capital intensive and cash flow negative for a long time. Your goal when you're first starting a business should not be to start the next Amazon or Tesla. Those businesses are not profitable for a really long time, then eventually become really high valuations. You want a cash flow positive business from the get-go. His channel has some good content on that. And my last piece, my last recommendation would be Atomic Habits by James Clear. And this is because the problem that you're not gonna have when you're starting this new business or freelancing or anything is not most likely going to be anything to do with the business. It's gonna be with your own personal discipline and productivity. So this book, Atomic Habits, just really helps you develop better habits, which is going to be crucial to you doing anything useful with your life, honestly. So those are my 3 recommendations. And that's it. If you follow this guide to the T, I guarantee you will be making much more than the average college graduate, but also working much fewer than 40 hours per week. And you'll eventually have enough time and location freedom and financial freedom to start pursuing your passion or doing what you love. And maybe if that's your goal, to build that into your long-term career. That's what I'm doing, and I recommend it. It's a good time. But that only comes after a lot of work, and that means that you need to get your ass off YouTube and start doing something else. But before you do that, please share this video with a friend if you found it useful. I'm sure there is someone you know that could also benefit from it. And if you're going to stay on YouTube, if you must insist, then you might as well watch my video on how to actually achieve your goals, because you're gonna need it if you're trying to become a freelancer or start your own business or anything of that sort. So go ahead and click that video right here. And thank you very much for watching, y'all. I will see you in the next one. Mahalo and take care.